Welcome to the Talking Timelines podcast. We are four women with 4 points of view and four accents with one common goal: to share insights and information about what's going on in the world from a higher consciousness perspective. No BS, no PC, just lots of ideas that you won't hear on mainstream media. We chat, we laugh, and most of all, we shed and share light. Join us each week as we talk timelines.
Hi everyone, welcome to Talking Timelines episode 29 today, and we're going to be touching on a few things. Some couple of items that we've just been discussing before the show. One of them is why we were kept awake last night, and then we're going to be chatting about how holiday season affects us, and that will be moving into a question somebody put on the podcast on Podbean about Jesus. So there's three things that we aim to talk about today, but you never know where the conversation's going to go with us, so we'll just see what flows through. And so I'm going to start by saying I didn't sleep very well last night, and Laura said she didn't sleep very well either.
No, I didn't.
No. Right, so
Well, the thing that we both have in common is we watched a video that I sent to Janine. Basically, this woman calls herself, she's a medium, she's psychic, she's intuitive, she's, working for the light, air quotes. And she has some interesting videos. And this one particularly was, if you are feeling these physical symptoms, and she lived a whole long list of things. She's saying that we're being attacked by the dark, and it's basically showing up, or it's going to hit our physical bodies first, and then it kind of affects you emotionally. And she went through a whole long list of things, and I've experiencing some of them. So I thought, wow, this is interesting. Like, okay, this is where this is coming from. Like, okay, you're not imagining it. You're really being hit with this. So I sent it to Janine as I sent it to everyone on the podcast. And I thought this is kind of interesting. And I noticed last night, first of all, I couldn't fall asleep. It took me way longer than it normally does. And then I kept waking up. And also it was kind of like sort of like disturbing. I don't really know if I recall any dreams, but just disturbing thoughts and like some anxiety. And then when Janine sent a message this morning saying, I didn't sleep at all, and you said you had bad dreams, and we kind of, you made the connection. I thought it was worth bringing up um, because there's a lot of this going around. There's a lot of people with the right intentions attracting people that want this information. Unbeknownst to them, these people have been infiltrated, and they want to get this information out. At the same time, they're also depleting us.
Mm.
And I thought it was really, really important to bring up. So we decided we would chat about it today.
Well, as you know, I was teaching about energetic implants and mind meshes and stuff coming out of the screens. And I know it sounds a bit sci-fi for your average person out there, but when you have explored consciousness, you get to the point where you understand that what we're projecting as a physical reality is actually just layers of light, string theory in a plasma field of consciousness. And those things and there are other people out there that I've seen on YouTube talking about these things coming out of screens, particularly social media and stuff like that, that get into your forehead, onto your brain, into your ears, and affect and distort reality based on the intention of whoever's created these things, right? Which obviously they're not being created by someone with our best intentions, because they're trying to slow us down with our ascension process. So these things to me look like little grids, imagine a sticky plaster, what do you call them, band-aid, made of clear with wires going through it that's so fine that it's coming out the screen. And I can see them coming out the screen, but somebody who's clairvoyant in another frequency, because I see the coding, if you like, when I look at these things, will see maybe a little snake coming out the screen that's going to go in your ears, and then that's going to distort the messages that you're hearing, or it's going to go into your third eye, your pineal gland, and distort your meditations, your dreams. And that was exactly what was going on with me last night. I was having these weird dreams, and I don't normally dream because I'm in the void, in the gap. Everything's been cleared out when I go to sleep. There's nothing in there. For the only information that comes through me is just before I wake up in the morning. That's conversation with my higher consciousness, giving me information that I need. And
Yeah.
so that's what I've usually got going on when I'm having weird dreams about people from the past and dead family members and all kinds of stuff that is not shouldn't be there because I've deleted all those memories. I don't want all those memories in my consciousness. They're not necessary. Um, so this is what's going on with a lot of, unfortunately, influencers out there, and some pretty famous old ones that have been out there for decades as well. Stuff coming out the screen, and I'm very astute at picking up on these things. I still watch some stuff, but I clear myself immediately afterwards every time. So if I watch 10 videos in a day, I'm doing 10 clearings on myself in a day. But I'm so used to it now, having been at this um, for 17, 18 years is when I first started to see them, when I was warning people about it. And people will say to me, oh no, that's just you, it's not my reality. And I know we talk about not my reality a lot, but I see the collective consciousness. So it is your reality. So don't be naive enough to listen to certain people out there. And there's a big one I was listening to yesterday. Still some great information coming through. 90% of it, then 10% of it is sending people down the wrong path. Like telling people, you're perfect as you are now. You don't need to do any healing on yourself. You don't need to heal your trauma, all this stuff. That's complete BS. If we were perfect, the world would be perfect. You only need to look out the window to see that's not going on. So be careful what you're listening to. These people are being given false information. There's a lot of old false information, even in the old spiritual community, that has been given to people as well. That my BSometer, I call it, just under my heart, between my heart and my gut, goes off and it goes, when I listen to something that's not true. And it's never let me down. And I teach this in my workshops. I call it the discernment exercise. So there's a lot going on out there at the moment, and people are very vulnerable because the information that they're listening to is really juicy and interesting. We love it. We love to listen to it. So there's no judgment here at all, just being wise. If something doesn't feel right, if you're having dreams that are off, particularly if you're having sexual dreams, that means there's usually something has been placed in your system that is stimulating the base chakra in order for that energy to be siphoned and harvested. And it's not conspiracy stuff. It really is happening to people, energy draining and stuff like that. So it's important that people know about it. Do you feel it, Lisa?
Well, last I've had problems with getting to sleep and staying asleep uh, for about 3 weeks now, and I felt the energies about 3, 4 weeks very strong, and it was like, whoa, what's happening? Because I just didn't know where it was coming from, and I just would sit with myself, and I would just, go into the like no mind,
Mm-hmm.
and that helped clear that. And but now it's subsided quite a bit, and it's just like what you just mentioned. It's I feel like, yeah, what that whoever said that, oh, you don't need to heal yourself, things like that. I feel like we never get it done. We're always learning, we're always working on ourselves. We're powerful beings, and so we're, from I guess, how can you say it, the way that we are have been suppressed, through different, energies and programming, the matrix, things like that, is that, we have a it's endless, the possibilities and potential we have,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what we're learning. So when I do have that happen, I just take on Esther Hicks's advice, Abraham, and that's just change the thought right away to something else, and then it leaves me. So that's what I've been doing. And again, just taking like time to myself with no distractions, nothing, just being in with no thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's kept me going and enthusiastic about so-called holidays. And
Going to no mind. I couldn't even get to like no mind. Like I was constantly like my mind was I was trying, not only that, and this is so weird, I can't figure this out. All of a sudden a song, that will start just playing over and over in my head. And it's not even a song that I may have listened to,
Yeah.
earlier in the day. It could be something that I heard in my car a few days before, and all of a sudden I can't get this one line out of my head, and I literally want to bang my head against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Wow.
it's making me crazy. So my mind will just like be going to this and going to this, and I'm not even able to quiet it down.
Mm.
That's when I know it's not mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
as you know, I live in the present moment. It's took me years, lots of meditation to be able to be present all the time. So I know easily being in no mind 24/7. And when I'm lying in bed and I'm getting pulled out of it, trying to decipher where's this coming from, when I eventually fell asleep about 5 o'clock this morning and then woke up about 8, and I was like, had some weird dreams, and I was like, okay, show me what the root cause of this. I could see this mesh that had come out of the video that you sent me, and it was on one side of my brain, and it was on the side of my brain, which is the logical side of my brain. It was on it, so it'd gone on to the male side of my brain. So then I start thinking about stuff. It's like trying to solve a problem when you need to be going to sleep, and it's like it's a stupid problem. Could be a bit of maths about it's something to do with what we're building Christmas presents for people at the moment. We're out of wood. Everyone's getting wooden Christmas presents, and just
Oh,
thinking
nice.
about the mathematics of it, did we do that mathematics right? And it will go over and over.
That'll make me crazy.
I don't want to think about this now. I want to go to sleep, for God's sake. So it's like it's as if somebody's got a little pokey thing that fires the neurons in your brain going, you're not going to sleep. I'm going to annoy you. So you get
Yeah, it's like
frustrated and
an
angry.
obnoxious little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably some ET out there with a little remote control having a real good
Yeah.
giggle.
Totally. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's what's been going on there. But even yesterday, there is a very, because she's pretty famous now. I don't even think it's real. I think it's AI. It's a beautiful woman. I'm not going to say her name, giving a lot of information, and like her following's going up and up and up and up. No, it's not a real person. It's AI generated. And I was watching it, and so a lot of this stuff's really interesting stuff. But then in every video, there's something that said you don't need to, you're trapped. It was about the law of attraction, and it was saying how the law of attraction is a trap, and how the people that have been taught to, visualize it, manifest it, blah blah blah, what they're actually tapping into is the dark matrix grid, which goes, oh look, we've got a manifester. Give them what they want, and they'll keep doing it, and we keep them trapped in this grid. And she was talking about that, which it made sense to me because I've never been into manifesting in that respect. It just happens when I don't try. And I didn't teach it. And a lot of my students and followers had said to me, why don't you teach manifesting? Well, I taught how to clear blocks to manifesting, but not manifesting. It's a different thing, rather than being in the present and allowing. Your higher self knows exactly what you want. It knows what you need, what you
Yeah.
want, what you're ready for, blah, blah,
Mm.
blah. You don't have to manifest. So that was going on. And then I was like, okie dokie, here's some more false information coming out about how we've been taught to manifest, to do it this way. It's not, you're getting the feedback is coming from the grid of control. It's like there's somebody has set this grid up around you to keep you thinking, oh yeah, I've manifested this. And I think a lot of the people out there that manifested millions from what they're teaching people have actually got chips, giving people false information, making things something you could learn in a week, like learn in a week, last a year. It's all about getting money in, and they're getting the help from the grid, from the dark matrix, to pull people in because it's trapping them into that level of consciousness where the AI comes in and hooks into you, which we've talked about on many shows. I see all this going on. It's like I'm above it, watching it all going on. Oh, now I see what's going on, how people are getting trapped, in that level of consciousness. So there is intention, and there is a grid, a manifesting grid around the planet that people are getting what they want from if they are helping the shadow aspect keep people trapped in a certain level of consciousness. I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose. I think a lot of them are innocent, don't know what they're doing, they're vulnerable, they're teaching stuff that they really fully don't understand themselves. They've read a few books and they haven't really, walked the path. So that's going on as well. And then I asked, is this person real? And where is, who's writing this script, right? And I'm not going to say it, but it's 3 letters and it begins with a C. So you can figure that one out. And it's been
Acronym?
done, it's been done on
Mhm.
purpose,
Yeah.
because it's juicy information and it's correct because I've tapped into it. So this is, a program in the matrix that needs to be deleted. And that's why I watch that stuff. I extract the stuff that needs to be deleted, share that with my little group. And, the predictive programming and the old programming that goes back generations, possibly even thousands of years, gets shared. But then there's this other stuff in, yeah, you're taught that, you're not manifesting because you've got all this trauma and you need to clear your trauma so you manifest. And that's not true. That's what she said. That's not true. Well, that's wrong. That is true because your trauma is a frequency, and
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
frequency affects your power level. So if anyone's telling you you do not need to heal your trauma, in order to manifest a better life, then you're listening to the wrong person because everything is frequency. And if you've got ancestral trauma, intergenerational trauma, this life trauma, multidimensional trauma, that's all low frequency in your field and it's going to affect your power levels. You can't level up to all these higher levels when you've still got all that negativity in your system, because you can't, every time you level up, you have to accept this new level, and then another door opens, your energy field is expanded into the next level of consciousness. You can't go in there with a lot of trauma because you're just going to keep manifesting more of it coming back at you like a boomerang. So if you're listening to people that telling you don't need to heal, you don't need to hear your trauma, they're giving you false information. Just be careful, guys.
It also sounds very disempowering to me to say, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like it's almost like you have to own it and say, "Well, this is just what happened to me." And there's something about wanting to clear things and taking the steps and being open that actually, I think, empowers people.
Absolutely. I mean,
Whereas if you
even,
say, "Oh, don't worry about your trauma," guess what? It's going to keep getting louder as you go through your life because it's sitting there festering.
yeah, healing my trauma, it's no secret that I've lost a lot of family members and I was traumatized by it. I'm a much happier, grounded human being, lighter person than I was 25 years ago when I was going through all that stuff. It was breaking me. My heart was broken. And I wasn't even capable of, falling in love with somebody with a heart that's like broken so badly because of grief and stuff like that. So it's not true. However, the manifesting part of it that she talked about in it, I thought, yeah, that's interesting. We need to stop manifesting consciously and start creating.
Mhm.
There's a difference. And we create from no mind. We create from being in the present moment,
Yeah.
this precise probability point, not the now, because by the time you said now, it's gone. There is a singularity point. That's where you want to get to, and that's where no mind comes from. That's what I've been teaching my students to go to, into the core of creation in that no mind space. That's where your power is. And that's why we've been taught all this stuff about religion, good and evil, because it's like take a side when you don't want to be on any side. You want to be in the middle all the time, seeing there's always two sides of a story, two perspectives. There's 8 billion perspectives on the
Mhm.
planet. And then you've got the perspectives of the animals and their trauma affecting the mass consciousness that people don't talk about as well. So this is why factory farming is so dangerous,
Mm.
because all that trauma is going into the mass consciousness and it's affecting all of us. People don't talk
Factory
about that.
farming.
Speaking of that, I have
Yeah.
a question. I heard something the other day, and I've never heard this before. We don't have to get into a whole conversation on diet and on all this, but when you brought up factory farming, there was something very interesting because we know when we ingest an animal that has had this trauma, we take on that energy ourselves. I heard somebody say recently that the reason why she's a carnivore is that you need to consume consciousness in order to increase your consciousness. I've never heard that before, and I thought it sounded so out there, but she's someone that I kind of really respect. And I thought, wow, that to me, it's like you're, I don't know,
That doesn't resonate with me at all.
right? Isn't that odd?
Yeah, that I don't think we need to consume anything. We need to be.
Because
Yes.
we're first destroying the consciousness that we say we need to take in
Yeah.
to increase ours, but why would our consciousness have priority over another's consciousness?
Exactly.
And
I'm not against people eating meat at all. If they want it, that's for their journey. I'm not
right.
opposed to it. I wouldn't argue with someone over it. My body just didn't like it, and I got to the point 18 years ago when I just couldn't swallow the meat anymore. And even walking through the supermarket, the meat department, I could
Mm.
feel screaming and trauma. I couldn't
Yeah.
even walk through the department because I could feel it. That's why I stopped. And plus the Earthlings documentary, I watched that on YouTube and that was just to finish me off completely. That
Yeah.
goes on about puppy farming and factory farming and all sorts of cruelty to animals, the culling of the dolphins, which happened, I can't remember what country that happened in. They were fishing the tuna fish. The big tunas are
Yeah.
$3,000 each, and they were overfishing them, and they blamed it on the dolphins eating the tuna. So they culled a lot of dolphins and put it
Oh,
on
that's
TV.
disgusting.
Look, we've stopped the dolphins eating the tuna, and it was all
Yeah.
in a massive lie.
Yeah. And all the blood, the water was all blood. I
Yeah.
remember reading about that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
made me cry so much. I
Yeah.
can't bear watching anything to do with animals being hurt. We're all animal lovers here. So,
Yeah.
Well,
so
the thing too that if someone is going to eat meat, which like I agree, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but the least you can do is just find out that it's been ethically raised and
Yeah.
so and you're doing yourself a favor in addition to the animals.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
same
my
thing with
dog
veg.
needs meat. I
Yeah.
shop from a local butcher who shops from a local farmer, and there's no antibiotics pumped into the animals or anything like that. I'm even fussy about what I give my dog
Mm.
because,
Yeah.
chihuahuas, there was one on Instagram the other day, his 25th birthday. They can live a long time if you take care of them, you know.
Yeah.
And mine's
Yeah.
already 12. So,
Okay, before we
yeah,
change subjects,
go.
I just think it's important because someone can listening and say, okay, Janine, that's great. You're clearing yours, but what about us? What would you recommend for someone that doesn't have the abilities that you have to see these things and to clear it? I know we may have talked about it in a previous episode, but what would you suggest for people who feel like they may have been infiltrated and want to clear their energy?
Okay, so the easiest and simplest and free way of working on yourself is to sun gaze. So I would say that's an hour after sunrise. So if sunrise is at 6, it's between 6 and 7. And if it goes down at 8 in the evening, it's between 7 and 8. It's the hour before sunset and the hour after sunrise. And you literally sit in the sun and stare at the sun and visualize the sun's rays coming into your body and asking your higher consciousness to use those sun's rays to dissolve and neutralize back to blueprint anything that you've picked up from watching the internet, any discordant imprints that have come into your consciousness. So to me, they look like somebody's just chucking, post-it stickers into you. Other people, and I've heard people talking on YouTube about it. Hans, can't remember his other name, with another couple, saying that some people were seeing like little squids. Some people see them as like octopus or snakes coming out of the screen and going into people's consciousness and stuff like that. So, as I say, I see code now, and that looks like meshes. But I used to see that, I can convert the code into what does this look like to other people, and I'll see a snake coming out and going into people's ears. Anything to do with politics, little snakes coming out going into your ears, so that you only hear what they want you to hear. There's intention behind everything.
Mm.
The intention not to listen to the light workers that are telling the absolute truth or as close to the absolute truth. Listen to the ones that have got the nice fancy graphics in the background. Oh, that's pretty. So then you're being mesmerized. Your subconscious opens up because you're in that state. And whatever they want goes into your subconscious. This is why I studied the mind. I did energy healing first, and I'm like, well, how are they controlling people's minds? So, I want to know about that. So it's easily done. And one of the easiest ways to tap into someone's subconscious and plant a seed in there is to confuse them. And there's so much of this now with AI. It's just ridiculous. Even the animal videos. Well, I watched one the other day and it was a rooftop glass swimming pool, and it collapsed and all these people were falling off the
Oh
building.
yeah, I
And
saw that too.
yeah. And like you read underneath it and people are going, oh no, I hope they're okay. I'm like, for God's sake, it's AI. Stop being an idiot. You know.
I can't tell. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was another one, there was a boat and there was a bear giving the baby bear to the people in the boat. And the people write, oh, I'm so glad they saved that bear and the mother didn't drown. I'm like, oh really? Are people really that stupid?
Well, I
They're
think also what
hypnotized.
happens is that if you're scrolling, it's very, very similar to what happens when you're watching TV. You're gonna go into theta.
Yeah,
You're gonna go
exactly.
into that state. You're scrolling, and your mind is just so ripe for just absorbing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is that you're scrolling. I'll notice sometimes that I'm making a conscious, I'm also, it's not even a conscious effort. I'm just losing my interest in really scrolling too much. But I'll notice it more with TikTok than anything else, where I'll be like going for a little bit and I'll just be like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Because it's people that are not even doing interesting things, not even have anything, and you're just watching random people. And I'm like, what am I doing? So you can easily get yourself like sucked in
Yeah, but that's
until
the
you realize
hook.
what's
That's
going
the
on.
hook. That's the AI hook, hooking you in. It hooks into your heart and it pulls you back for more. And these other things go into your head and they go, oh, just, one more. Then you're in kind of trance state, scrolling down.
And
You
you're
get
just like,
into a
yeah, what have I
trance.
been doing for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty careful with it now. I like to share animal stuff because a lot of my followers are into animals, so it brings a bit of joy, But
Yeah.
I've been very careful with the AI stuff as I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. It just annoys me that frequency.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
so
good.
we've talked about that, and we wanted to talk about holiday season.
Mm.
Laura, I'm going to pass this over to you because this is your subject matter.
Well, I thought it would be a good subject to talk about because, well, first of all, we're in it right now, and it affects everyone in one way or another. Now, full disclosure, I have never been a holiday person, and it's probably because it was never a big deal in my family. And I think there's a lot to do with it,
Yeah.
which goes to what I was going to talk about, how so much of this is programming.
Yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
whatever your experience was as a child, many, there's nostalgia, there's family, there's a lot of positive things associated with it. But on the downside, and this is what occurred to me the other day, is how many people actually suffer through holidays because they either don't have the family, they don't have the friends, they don't have the finances, they're alone. It amplifies certain what they're lacking in their life. So it becomes actually a very dark period for a lot of people. And at the same time, there's also this obligation that you need to participate. It's funny, you mentioned someone asks you what you did on this holiday, and
Yeah.
I'm sure how many people I'm sure lie if they
Yeah.
weren't with their family because they don't have it, like whatever it is. So there's so much expected of us, and a lot of it is just this sort of like following through these rituals that may not even have any meaning for you, especially a lot of the
Mhm.
religious ones. I mean, we know Christmas has nothing to do with what it is. It's
Yeah.
a commercial holiday that a lot of businesses count on that time of year to make the numbers for the year. So it's all about spending money. It's getting people to go out there and buy things. And I just thought it was really, really important to acknowledge like kind of the other side of it. And that so many people are not given the choice whether to participate because there is the expectation. And then oh, I have to do this. I have to buy gifts for these people. So then people get it, overextended in spending money. And it's not really talked about that much. It's not really talked about the impact that it could have on so many people. And I thought it would just be a good conversation for us to have.
Yeah, you're right. There are a lot of people that struggle this time of year, and I've seen people as well, that especially if they've got a lot of children, going into massive debt. Because kids these days, they're not asking for something for $50. They want like $1,400 iPhones and stuff like that. And if they haven't got them, the pressure is put on them, peer pressure at school, because they haven't got the
Yeah,
up-to-date sneakers and the up-to-date phone and everything else. And there's a lot of pressure on people to buy. I have to admit, probably the opposite to you, Laura, in that respect, is my mum loved Christmas. We had two Christmas trees in the house, one in the front living room and one in the best room, in the other living room, and floor to ceiling, covered in beautiful decorations. And it's
Wow.
always been and I came from a big family. It was always been a really happy, fun time. And my mum would start buying stuff for Christmas in January in the sales, for the following year. She would buy her Christmas cards and everything else that they're selling off. So she was a smart shopper in that respect. So I do love it. And I've just, like, a few days ago, put up a huge Christmas tree because we're having a party. Well, we've got a few parties going on here over the next few weeks. And I said to my partner, you can't have a Christmas party and not have a Christmas tree. It's it just, it all adds to the ambience of it. So
yeah.
I do love it because of the nostalgia.
Right. And other than, I mean, it sounds beautiful and the family gathering and all the wonderful memories and the food, but I'm curious, was there any significance to what the holiday represented other than the family getting together?
No. And I was brought
Yeah.
up Catholic, so Christmas Eve, my dad would take me to midnight mass if I wanted to go. And I only wanted to go to that because it was after midnight. I don't really care about the church thing. It was fun to stay up that late. But no, it was more about family. So it was more about getting together with family. And my mum and my elder sister, like the elder of the five of us, they bought really cool presents as well. They didn't like spend millions, but the presents were really heartfelt. Like, they always bought you something you really loved. And it was just family time. It was a lot of fun and laughter, and we had karaoke machine and just, you know. So that side of it was nothing to do with what Christmas is meant to be about, which is the birth of Christ, isn't it?
Well, the thing also is I think all holidays have kind of lost their original intention.
Mm.
And the other thing that I noticed, and it's definitely here in the US, I'm not sure how if it's as bad in other countries, but the media and it's all about pushing us ahead to the next thing without being so they take us out of the present, whatever we're experiencing. It's August and it's summer and it's carefree, and all of a sudden they're okay, well, what's coming up first? Well, it's the Halloween, decorations and the candy, and then it's Thanksgiving. So what they're constantly doing is they're taking us out of the present to enjoy where we are and what's going on, and it's the next thing and the next thing you have to prepare for and you have to spend money on, and then before you know it, we're like, wow, time's going so quickly
Yeah,
because we haven't been present to anything.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we jump from one holiday to the next as well. It's like
It's like people look forward, yeah, they look forward to that.
you've got
to
Christmas and then New Year, and then you've got Valentine's
Easter.
Day,
Yep.
you've got,
Easter,
yeah, Easter,
Easter,
you've got Mother's Day, Father's Day.
Thursday.
Yeah, there's, you know,
Passover, like, yeah, it's
every month there's something going on, and it's all about money. It's like the shopping conspiracy thing where the seasons, there used to be 2 seasons a year in stores for clothes. And now there's
Yeah.
12 seasons. They
mm.
change the clothes out every month, and all that stuff gets dumped in on the islands of Uganda and places like that. Watch the shopping conspiracy, guys. It'll make you think about how much shopping you do. It really will.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, there's that side of it. What were your Christmases like, Lise?
I remember, like, well, we had a big tree in the living room, and we looked forward to the gifts, but there was also getting together with the family. And, my parents, they ran three businesses. So for them, they had a little bit of a break. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. And then yeah, because we got to see everybody, because, with them working all the time and with our school, we hardly saw it, like, our aunts and uncles and cousins. And then, so that was really nice. We would do Christmas, we would do Christmas Eve at my dad's mother's place. So my grandma on my dad's side. And so we would see that side of the family. And then on Christmas Day, we would see everybody on my mom's side at my mom's mother's place. And so Grandma Mary and Grandma Pearl. And yeah, so it was a lot of joy, laughter, and that type of thing. So yeah, that was good. But then in my 20s, my twin and I, we had, and this was after my mom passed away, we had said, like for birthdays and all the holidays and everything like that, let's just let's just appreciate each other and hang on, or hang out with each other rather than just the gifts. And my dad was just ecstatic about that. I'm good with that, he said. And and now it's even the same thing as like the cards and everything like that, because they end up in the landfill too, right? And
Right.
a lot of stuff is, they say, is recycled. It's not. So it's just like, I'd rather have time, spent with family and friends that is quality, rather than, oh, I didn't get them a gift, or I didn't like this gift. And with that said, with Andy's side of the family, we're meeting with them on Christmas Eve, and we're having kind of like where all of us are bringing dishes, and they have a secret Santa thing. So we just spend $50 and kind of have this thing in the middle where we pick. It's kind of more like a game, but
Yeah, we
that's
did
about
that.
as far as it
Yeah,
goes.
I went to a party last week and we did that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a good idea. The Secret Santa thing. It is a good idea.
yeah,
So
and lots of good food and conversations and things like that. And Christmas Day is going to be a little bit quiet here. There's going to be about three of us, and I am more than happy about that. So
yeah,
more
we've got
cocooning.
visitors coming Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and we're having a New Year's party as well, which Lisa's coming to,
Yeah,
which will
we're
be
there.
fun. I'm Randy and I are learning our set to sing. So I
Oh,
think we've got
great.
about 6 or 7 songs now instead of just
Wow.
the one. So it should be fun, but I have no idea how many people are coming. It could be 40, it could be 70.
Yeah,
It's open house really.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yay.
I'm looking forward to that. It'll be fun. But that'll be a
We've,
potluck. All our friends, they
yep,
bring stuff. So
yeah,
it's potluck going on. Okay,
right.
so the other thing we wanted to touch on today, Laura, you said somebody had asked a question on Podbean about Jesus.
Yes. Um, you had said that you were, I guess, your higher self, you were heard that Jesus was never existed,
Mm-hmm.
and as a person, and this person agreed with you and wanted to know, um, I guess like how you knew that. I mean, I can find out the exact question, which I think would be a good idea. Um,
Well, I think this started because in that podcast I mentioned that book that I had read about the Illuminati saying that they'd created a demon called Jesus, and that's what came to me when
that's what it was, a demon called Jesus. I couldn't think of
I
the other
when I
thing.
first got into this all those years ago, and he came to me right in the very beginning when my third eye had opened up, and I was seeing more. I mean, my third eye was open when I was a child, but I did close it down in my teens. And he had a black tooth. I said, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in religion. You can go away. I don't want to talk to you, basically. And when he smiled, he had a black tooth. So when I read it in that book, which was like a couple of decades later, I thought, that must have been the one that, the demon that they created. So didn't she ask,
Trying to find it.
didn't she ask something like, what do you think these people that are using his name to get rid of negative entities are actually
Right. I'm
getting?
going to
There's no offense here to anyone. I've got my beliefs, you've got your beliefs, and I've mutual respect going on, hopefully. But
Yeah,
this is something that's been important to me because I was brought up Catholic, and I did believe in God in the beginning. Now I believe in a field of consciousness that is a super intelligent field of consciousness that we program in this matrix with our thoughts, feelings, actions, so on and so forth. It's not even a belief anymore, it's a knowing. We transition from belief to knowing. Because a belief is something that's been given to you, and knowing is
yeah,
something you feel in your core. There is a difference.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah, but I'm not. I still am on the opinion that, you know, if there are millions of people that believe they're praying to God and God's answering them, then that's what they've manifested. You know, so there may well be that God. And if anyone's read my books, that was what used to appear to me. What did she say?
Okay, it says Janine's meditations. Oh, okay, Janine's meditations tell her Jesus never walked the earth, which I also believe. I would like her to address, is he an ascended master? And how do so many people saying his name say this gets rid of attachments? Oh, they're saying his name, saying Jesus' name gets rid of attachments.
Yeah,
How are they saying this?
yeah, right. So my take on this is that religion was created by certain beings on this planet in order to divide and conquer and get people into fear and control, that the God was something outside of themselves, so it disempowers them. In as a opposite to what we know is that we are God. We're all part of that God being, oneness, whatever you want to call it, one. I don't mean I'm God. I mean I'm a little particle of that being, a soul having an experience. And I've meditated on it for years and years, you know, I wanted to know because of I just want to know. I'm a seeker, I always have been. And I was getting told, no, it's a story that was created. So basically, it's a program in the Matrix. Now, when people call in that program, there's a program. If you're being attacked by demons and you're calling on Jesus to help you get rid of these demons for you, then there is a program within that program that creates that, which keeps you trapped in the believing Jesus is saving you from these demons, when really the demons are just a projection of your own garbage. And you don't need to be calling him in to get rid of them. You need to go in yourself and dissolve those demon programs in your own consciousness. So again, it's disempowering because you're looking outside for something
Yeah.
instead of going within and realizing that whatever's coming to you is just a holographic projection of what's in your DNA, what's in your consciousness, what's in your field, whether it's yours, whether it's ancestral, whether it's to do with alcohol or drugs or pornography or whatever else you're dabbling in that brings those entities into your system. That's the way I see it. The Christ consciousness is a gold ray of light. What people call the Christ light is gold energy. Everything is energy. Somebody's given it a name. They've called it the
Yes.
Christ energy. Again, that's come from religious quarters. And I've had this discussion with people that go, well, I'm into Jesus, but I'm not into religion. Jesus isn't religion. I'll say, sorry, but he is. You can't detach him, you know. He came from the books. Therefore, he's religion.
But you know what's really interesting is that these people that have discovered Jesus is healing them and they've never been happier. That's all they talk about. And they're saying, you need to do this. You want this. You need to call Jesus. You need to. So it's this. They're not just saying, listen, if this resonates with you, then you can do this too. They're saying, you must.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to. And that's what feels so off to me.
Yeah. And, saying
Is that
things
they're
like,
preaching this.
God hates certain people. God is against homosexuals. God, really? I don't think so. It's a field of consciousness that's non-judgmental. It's a field of consciousness, not a person judging. And the other thing, it's like I was saying earlier in the podcast today about the law of attraction thing, that matrix, dark matrix grid is set up to keep you trapped in that religious system. So if there's a program in there saying, well, if you call on Jesus, it's going to come and save you, and you'll believe in it and it's working for you because that program is set up in that hologram for that to work that way, then it's still trapping you in that system. You can't escape the matrix, the dark matrix, and take religion with you. You just can't. It's a program. End of story. That's my beliefs. No offense to anyone at home. Please don't write in and try and start a fight with me because I'm not up for it and I'll just ignore the comment. That's the kind of
Yeah.
person I am.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I know what I know, and there's been a many, many, many hours of meditation and pondering gone into finding this truth.
Christ is King is the big thing that's out there. And it's then you get some of those people like they're saying, do you do this, you do that. It's part of like this obey. And to me it's just like, wow, it's such a thick, deep program that it's just like I don't even want to be around those people that are like that. And I see some of the podcasters like that, and then they talks with surety that of what we're talking about right now, that the way to God is through Jesus.
Yeah.
Not that doesn't resonate with me at
Yeah.
all. And it's not, I'm not I'm atheist or anything like that, but I do believe that just like Jesus, um who's the Son of God in the story is Jesus. God is our Father, so he's our brother. We have the same powers, right? And like it's just, to me it's like I don't want to be part of that clan or that cult. I hate to even say that it's a cult. But we're seeing that with a lot of podcasters, like more like Christ is King and all that. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you're not a better person because you believe that. Or,
I
God
think
is
there's
within
some
each and every one of us.
I think there's some very useful stuff in the Bible. It's like with all of these things. It's like the 90% of really juicy information that's useful. And then the other 10% that keeps you trapped in the dark matrix,
Yes.
and
Yep.
I can feel it. This is the importance of raising your frequency, of getting into that, being more sensitive to your surroundings, because then you can feel the BS. It doesn't, they can show you book after book after book. Who wrote the books? There's so much misinformation out there, but when you get to a certain level, you're just tuned in. You're tuned into the programming. You're like, no, that's a program, delete. That's a program, delete. No, you're not getting into my consciousness. When you're present and you're in the moment and you've mastered that no mind, and you can feel it. You can't have the
Yeah.
wool pulled over your eyes anymore. The saying you can't get to God without Christ, in one way is correct. It's just the wrong terminology.
Yeah.
It's the consciousness.
It's
Yeah.
the consciousness of the gold ray, of what they call the Christ consciousness. You go through the gold ray to get to the white, and then you go through the white to get to the void, which is transparent, nothing. There's a lot of people out there teaching people you've got to go to the source, and they just go to the white light. And there's a higher level than that.
And then they go right back into the reincarnation cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, isn't it? About when you die, go into the light. Demand to be taken to the core of creation, where you came from. Not going into the light and all these false guides and everything else that are part of this dark matrix fix that has been set up to keep us trapped in this reincarnation. I'm not saying I don't believe reincarnation is a bad thing, but I think we're being recycled into it rather than going into it through choice because we want to have another experience, or because there's something we would like to try. It's like when you listen to these people that go, oh, I was Queen Cleopatra in a past life, and their ego plumps up because they feel they were special. I'm like, honey, there are
Every
thousands of people that have been in that Cleopatra program in the hologram. It's not just you. Get off your perch. And I've been to a lot of mind body spirit events and met a lot of people that live that, and they even start dressing like it because it's just their egos of just taking it on board that they're that special. And that's what made me really go into trying to figure out what the matrix was and how the hologram works and everything else, and consciousness, and the popping in and out of no thing collapses into the physical, illusionary thing that we experience and all of that. So I'm probably going off track with this now, but I think I've answered that, Laura, don't you? So I
I think
have
she'll
to
be
send her a
satisfied.
reply saying it's it, the
So you have to
answer
watch both podcasts.
is in TT 29. Yeah, episode 29's got the answer to the question. Okay. All right. Well, I presume everyone's got a lot to do today with Christmas coming up. So maybe we should leave it there. It's been another interesting show, unless you've got anything else you'd like to share, girls.
I think we're good. I think we
Okay.
We're
covered
good,
it.
yeah.
So next week is Christmas Eve. So we're probably going to be busy. I know I'm going to be busy next week. So we've got people coming for lunch. So it's probably going to be a couple of weeks before we get together again. Okay, well, thanks for joining me, ladies, and thanks for listening at home. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time for our 30th episode this year. So, okay, have a great Christmas and New Year.
Bye,
Bye for
Okay.
everyone.
now.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Disclaimer: the content in this podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. The views, opinions, and information shared do not necessarily represent those of the hosts, but is provided for additional perspectives. None of the hosts are medical professionals, so we do not dispense medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any health-related issues. And thank you for listening to Talking Timelines.